morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome, Toria family. Welcome to my world. Welcome to Toria's Promise, the place where we love and laugh, filled with love and laughter. This is a place where we learn life lessons, where we coach ourselves on life experiences that help to shape us up for the future and help us to live our best lives, help us to live the good life. Thank you for joining me yet again. On this episode, we're going to be treating something that is, very, very close to my heart. Children. We're going to be talking about abuse, mistreatment, maltreatment, physical abuse of children. This will be the first in this series, because there's so much to talk about, and I don't think that we're going to be able to exhaust it all in this particular episode. So I'm going to take it slowly, step by step, until we're able to exhaust it all. So bear with me if I don't finish it in this video. We'll definitely have finish it up in another video. I'm going to be starting with a story. I was a victim of abuse, physical abuse, let me say. Not from my parents, This was from a girl that my mother entrusted me to. This was how it happened. But before I go on, I'll kindly like to ask you to please subscribe, like, share this video. Thank you. That was years ago. I think I was about 4, 5, 6, thereabout 7 at the most, I think. It's been a long time. I really can't remember. My mother and my father were skilled workers. They worked, a bit far from where I was attending school. And my mother had this challenge of taking me to school, bringing me back, So an opportunity presented itself. There was this lady from my tribe, from my place, who my mother knew well. And this lady had children. She had an elderly daughter who was much older than me. She was a teenager, and I was just that small little girl. So my mother spoke to her mom, and appealed to her if she could be bringing me back from school with her other younger ones, because we all attended school in the same area. I attended this school, and she was in the school 2 of my school, or something like that in those days, So she agreed to be bringing me home together with her siblings. My mother was very happy, because that was one challenge solved. If only she knew how it would turn out to be, I'm sure she would never, ever have put me in that sort of situation. Because growing up, we were my mother loved us. I mean, she treated us like eggs, me and my siblings. So for what happened to have happened, it was a terrible blow to my mom, and the thing really, really affected her. So it started. Every day, this girl would, in the mornings, my parents would drop me off at school, and then she would bring me back in the afternoon after close. So, it started out well. And then all of a sudden, I don't know what I did to her. In fact, I didn't do anything, because I was just a little girl. During break, my mother told me to go over to her school, because there were no barriers or anything. I could just I should go over to her class, and then she would help me buy lunch, and she will give it to me to eat. So every break time, I will cross over to her own side of the school. She will collect my money. She will buy me food. And as a child, I loved eating meat, chicken, beef, whatever. In fact, I was practically brought up on meat. She will buy me food. Buy the food, buy the meat, and then she would take the meat and give me the food. And this was something I wasn't used to. My mother never did that. I never ate without meat. In fact, when I was growing up, like, we always made fun of that. I would go to play, and then I'll come back. My mother would give me a piece of meat. I'll go out, come back. So, then that was a time when they used to buy meat in cartons. Those days when we were growing up. She will cook some, she will fry some, and then she will put the raw one in the freezer. So most times when I go to play, I go and play, I come back, she will give me a piece of meat, I'll go share with my friends, come back. That was how it was. I was used to meat, I was used to eating meat all the time. And then this girl would now do this to me. She will take my money, buy the food, take the protein, take the beef or whatever chicken, whatever it was that was served. She will take it and give me the food to eat. And I will look at, sometimes I'll eat the food, sometimes I won't eat. When she realized that most times I don't eat the food, that was when the beating started. This girl would beat me. She would slap me. She would push me around. She would knock my head, to the extent that her classmates were, they were chiding her. Why would you beat this small girl like this? Why would you be beating her like this? You are the one who has offended her. You are still the one beating her. You've taken her meat and you're still beating her. She will tell them, shut up, they shouldn't talk to her and everything. It will even make her beat me the more. And then she will send me away to school, to my school. That was how it continued every day. And then it got worse. It got worse. My mother would give me, a certain amount of money. She will collect all that money from me. Like I said, she'll buy me food, take the meat, and then what was left of that money, on our way home with her siblings, there's this place where they sell pie. It's like a pie house. The aroma from that place can be perceived from miles and miles away. And then she would have spent her own money. She would take my money, go to that place, buy the pie, and then share it among herself and her younger ones. And she won't give me on my own money. This girl, I can't even begin to tell you the extent of what she did to me. She would beat me. She would deprive me of my money. She would buy things with my money and deprive me of it and eat it, right there before me, and share it to her younger ones, and she won't give me. In my own little mind, my childlike mind, I was like, what have I done? What did I do? I know the question you will ask me is, why didn't you tell your mother? I couldn't. I was afraid because she threatened me. She threatened me and said, if you tell your mother, I will kill you. I will beat you to the extent that I will kill. That really scared me. I was so scared because I didn't want to die. I thought she was serious. I thought she meant it. I didn't know any better. So this particular day, we were coming home. It was that bad. She had done her usual bidding in the school, bought me food, took my meat, kept my money, bought this pie, and that particular day, the aroma from that pie was something else. It was, And then she bought the pie, took my money, bought the pie, shared it among her younger ones, and then the beating she gave me that day. My parents weren't beating me. I wasn't used to all that. This was, she beat me dragged me on the floor. She beat me so much so that this kind gentleman who, just casual bystander like that, saw what she was doing to me, and she was like, why are you beating this small child like this? What could she have done for her to warrant this sort of treatment? She told the man, shut up, it's none of your business, get out. She just was very, very impolite and rude to the man. I still refuse to tell my mom, because I didn't want to die. I didn't want her to kill me. I didn't tell my mother. And she beat me in such a way. She was careful not to leave bruises in those parts of my body that that will show. And I too was careful enough not to show my mother. I didn't tell my mom because I was afraid. So that was it for me. I had it. I was never ever going to go back home with her. Never. So the next day, I hid. Normally, she doesn't come to look for me anyway. I'm the one who goes to her to, look for her and then come home together. She didn't care. She was just a wicked human being. She was just a wicked soul. So that particular day, I refused to go to her. I didn't want to go. I was scared from the treatment she gave me the day before. I mean, I was like, what could be worse than that? I wasn't going to go back to her. I was going to stay in that school. I wasn't going anywhere. And the house was a bit far, so I couldn't find my way home. So I sat there, and then a friend of mine, although she was a bit older than me, my mother's friend's daughter, who we attended the same school, saw me just sitting there after everybody had gone, and she was like, what's wrong with you? Why are you sitting here? Aren't you going home? I said, no, I'm not going home. Why? I'm scared. Why are you scared to go home? Because the girl who takes me home normally beats me, and she was like, really? Why didn't you tell your mom? Because I'm afraid. She threatened me. She said she was going to kill me. That one was like, wow. She now said, no, I can't leave you here. Come, let's go home. Her house was not too far from my house, although it was a bit of a distance from my house, but it wasn't too far anyway. And taking me home at that time, my parents would not have been back at that time. So she said, come, let's go to my house. Let's go and have, let's go and watch television and just, kill time till your parents come back. And believe me, I had the time of my life, and I was like, where have you been all my life? If I had known, man, this is what I would have been. We watched TV, we made popsicles, I enjoyed myself. I enjoyed myself so much so that I forgot that I had to be home at a certain time. I didn't know where the time went because I was having so much fun. And then around 6, this was like from 1 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 1:30, it's like 6 o'clock. My mother normally came back from work around 4. So when it was 6, I looked at the time, I was like, it's almost 6. She was like, hey, let's go. So we started on our journey home. Meanwhile, drama was taking place in my house. My mother was going ballistic. My mother was scared. She was afraid. My mother was so troubled because she got home. I wasn't there. She went to the girl's house to ask her. She naturally thought that I was in the girl's place. And the girl was like, she didn't see me. She looked everywhere for me, which was a big lie. Because if she had looked everywhere for me, she would have found me. She said she looked everywhere for me, she couldn't find me. Hi, my mother was like, oh my God. And then I innocently was walking home with my friend. And then from a distance, I saw somebody. Was like she was doing some sort of dance. I don't know what the person was doing, but I was like, this person looks like my mother. What is going on? It was my mother. My mother was all over the place. We were just turning into the street adjacent to my street. As we were turning the corner, I saw my mother. My mother was crying. She was beside herself. There was some people around her trying to calm her down and everything. My mother was frantic. She had been looking for me for hours. And then all of a sudden, somebody said, is that not her? And my mother just looked my way and she ran like slow motion. She got to me and my mother carried me. Oh, That's mother's love. Mother's love. My mother held me to her breast. She held me to her bosom. She cried. And then she asked me, where have I been? And then I now told her the whole story. And then she cried the more. She cried buckets. She was like, why didn't I tell her? Why didn't I tell her? You mean you'd been going through all this and she didn't know about it? And she didn't. My mother felt so bad. And then my mother went to the girl's house and asked the girl, why? What did I ever do to you for you to treat my daughter like this? And the girl was not, she was unrepentant. She was, she didn't, she was so adamantly rude, impolite. She was like, what? She didn't do anything. It's a lie. I'm lying, blah, 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 blah. My mother took her child and took me home. And then she had to arrange for my cousin who was living with us at that time, who was attending another school. My mother had to withdraw her, and that was my cousin that I loved so very much. She's late now. May God rest her soul. I miss her so much. My mother had to withdraw her from the school where she was and put her in the school 2. That's what we called it then. The other arm of my school. And my cousin was the one who now took over from the other girl who used to bring me home. And it was heavenly. Every day when she comes to pick me up, it's either she buys me a popsicle or this sweet, a sweet popsicle, ice cream, something. She must greet me with something. I loved her so much. She was an amazing human being. And so that was it. That was how this girl abused me physically, mentally, emotionally. She said some very, very evil things to me, some very bad things to me, And later I got to be in the same class with her younger brother who was right there while she was doing that to me. And he never said anything. But I forgave him. I forgave her, and I just let it go. So you see, my story ended well, but a lot of kids who experienced the same thing or even worse than I experienced, their stories don't end well. Some of them, their stories don't end well. Some of them, they get wounded, injured, maimed in a certain way, by maids, by people generally, even by relatives, even by their own parents. So this is where I will stop this video. I will continue this. It will be a series. I will continue this in my next video. I hope that you have been able to learn something from this. Parents, friends, be mindful of your children. Be careful who you deliver your children to. Be careful, be mindful of those people who mind and take care of your children. Please protect these young ones, protect these young minds, keep them safe, because they are defenseless. They are not able to fight for themselves. They are not able to defend themselves, and most times they are threatened. They are scared to even let you parents into what they are going through because of all these threats that they face. So please be more mindful, be more careful, put more attention, give your children more attention, listen to them, watch out for the signs, because some of them will never tell you what they are going through. Watch out for the signs. Watch out for bruises, injuries. Watch out for their mannerisms. Watch out for when their attitudes to things change. Just keep an eye out. And like that, you'll be able to nip it in the bud before any permanent damage is done to these children. Thank you so very much for listening. I will see you next time. Thank you. God bless you.